God's dream team. We're going to change Oregon, amen? Right. One soul at a time. Okay, so let me quote to you. I'm not going to go through all 25 studies, but I'll just quote to you a few. Here's one, right? This is from USC, okay? No, it's not exactly some, I'm not quoting any conservative colleges. So you can say, oh, Jeff, you're cherry picking the data. No, I go to all liberal colleges. They're all secular, liberal, humanist colleges, okay? USC, Los Angeles. Teens who attend church every 7 days are 4 times less likely to commit suicide than teens that don't ever go to church. This is raw facts. When I was a young kid, I'm going to date myself, I used to watch a TV series, a cop series called Dragnet. Remember Sergeant Joe Friday? He'd pull up in his police car, he'd pull to a crime scene, take out his pencil and his paper, he'd say, just the facts, man, just the facts. That's what I'm giving you here. Just the facts. Here's another one. Stanford. There's a lower blood pressure among men who attend church every 7 days versus men who do not. Here's another one. I got all in the end, I tell you all the universities. I just want to go through some of them. Churchgoers have fewer heart attacks than non-churchgoers. Fact. Fact. Another one. Cities with high church attendance have the lowest crime rates. Facts. People that attend church every 7 days are physically healthier and less depressed than their non-believing neighbors. Here's another. There is an additional average life expectancy of 8 years for people of faith and prayer that go to church versus people that never go to church. So the facts are, people that go to church, generally speaking, all things being equal, live 8 years longer than non-church going people. You know why? I'll tell you what kills most Americans. It's called stress. Stress. Somebody who has a relationship with Jesus Christ and knows that they're in the true church of Christ. By the way, in case you didn't know, the Catholic Church is the true church founded by Jesus Christ of Nazareth. It is not a denomination. Every other Christian religion outside of the Catholic Church is a denomination. This is the church established by the Son of God in 33 AD. In fact, every single encyclopedia or almanac or history book that you can look at, and you try to find out the origins of Christianity, it'll tell you, every one. Britannica Encyclopedia, Encyclopedia of World Religions, Almanac of World Facts, every single one. What I did, about 25 years ago, I went to the Los Angeles County Library, downtown LA. I spent 8 hours. I took every encyclopedia that talks about history. This was back before the internet, like 20 years ago, I guess. I opened up to Christianity. I went to the Xerox machine and I Xeroxed it. I took down 22 of the most respected encyclopedias in the Los Angeles Public Library, downtown LA. Every single encyclopedia and almanac stated this: Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the Son of God, started the Catholic Church in 33 AD when he chose the 12 apostles, primarily making Peter the spokesman in Matthew chapter 16, verse 18, when Jesus told Peter, "Thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it." Verse 19, "I tell you, Peter, I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." It continues saying, the Catholic Church is the only church that can trace itself back through every century, all the way back to the time of the apostles. And in fact, the Bishop of Rome, what we call the Pope of the Catholic Church, he can trace his lineage, his episcopacy, all the way back to Peter himself. Pope Francis right now is the 267th successor of St. Peter in an unbroken line of succession. That's a fact. I've been to Israel several times as a pilgrim to visit. And I've got a master's degree. I'm fairly educated, so I can navigate myself around. I got a degree in biblical theology, so I know the Bible very well. I've been studying for 25 years, not only because I have a degree. But when I've been to Israel, I do this for the benefit of other Catholics that are there, not for myself, because I already know this. I'll ask the Jewish tour guides. And all the Jewish tour guides, they're all graduates from Hebrew University in downtown Jerusalem. You have to be a graduate in biblical history to be a Jewish tour guide. So all these guys are fairly informed about the archaeology and about the history of Israel. So I'll ask the Jewish tour guides, for the benefit of other Catholics and Protestants that are there, I'll say, excuse me, Aisher, Ben Yaakov, I have a question for you. Yeah, what is it? I said, so, why are there so many Catholic churches in Israel, the Holy Land? Every tour guide will tell you this. And I know why, but I just ask for the benefit of other people. They will say, don't you know why there's so many Catholic churches here in Israel? I said, no, why? Share with us. I'm curious. I mean, there's over 100 Catholic churches in Israel. It's a small country. It's about the size of New Jersey. And in downtown Jerusalem, the holy city of God, there's 33 Catholic churches in Jerusalem. It's a small city. So I asked the tour guide, why are there so many Catholic churches here? They'll all tell you this. Because Jesus Christ the Nazarene started your church. That's why you're here. Your church was started by the Nazarene. That's what they call Jesus, the Nazarene. He started your church. That's why you're all over the Holy Land. Now, I'll ask them, I don't see a lot of big Protestant churches like, I don't see like Joe Olston here, or, guys on the TBN channel and stuff, they're big mega churches. I said, so where they're not, how come they're not here? They'll tell you, the Jewish tour guides will tell you, they'll say, those are American churches. We don't want colonialism. We prefer they stay in America. Okay? We don't want them here. Those are American churches. Therefore, you won't see the Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on doors, because they'll say, they're not welcome here. They're American churches. What about the Mormons? They're not welcome here. Those are American churches. We don't want American colonialism here. So I ask them, so why are Catholics here? They go, the Jewish tour guides laughingly, they say, we can't throw you out because you've been here for 2,000 years. Thought I'd just share that. I'm writing a book on that. I'm almost finished with writing a book on why the Roman Catholic Church was started in Jerusalem, but why the headquarters is in Rome. I'm almost finished with the book. It was started in Jerusalem, but it moved to Rome with Peter very early on. So, I'm talking about the benefits of going to Holy Mass. Here's another one. The benefits of going to Holy Mass on Sunday. In a study of the religious life of alcoholics, results show that the majority who abuse alcohol do not have a religious commitment. 89% of alcoholics surveyed in the study stated that they don't go to church. Here it is. 89% of alcoholics state they don't go to church. I'll throw one more here. Highly religious, moral families that go to church enjoy more success and happiness and are less likely to divorce and engage in narcotic and substance abuse. Here's another thing that will interest you for some of you guys that like that analytical stuff. I spent a long time with 2 brain surgeons, and so I took a lot of their notes and I wrote them at the end of my book. It's called What Prayer Does to the Brain. It's a fascinating study. I interviewed both these guys for hours. And so I was able to pick their mind, their brain, and ask them specifically, does prayer do anything to the brain? It's the last chapter of my book. I'll make it very simple. I got graphs and pictures. These two world-renowned brain surgeons, one of them, his name is Dr. Vince Fortunace. He was the actual doctor that treated St. John Paul II for 5 years. He flew from Irvine, from UC Irvine, he flew to the Vatican and lived with John Paul II for 5 years and treated him every day for his Parkinson's. So he was a good friend, and he's a world-renowned. And the Vatican asked for him specifically to treat the Pope for Parkinson's. So he left for 5 years his family and moved to the Vatican to treat John Paul II. World-renowned brain surgeon. I interviewed him for hours. He's a good friend of mine. He says this. I'll make it simple. The brain is divided into 4 quadrants, 4 parts. Okay? The brain is divided into 4 parts. You got the front called the prefrontal cortex. You got the sides called the anterior cingulate. You got the top that's called the parietal lobe. You got the back called the limbic system. What does it say? Front, side, top, back. All right? Got it? Got it? Good. All right. Brain surgeons will tell you that this part of the brain and this part of the brain, they'll call it the good parts of the brain. Why? You get from here critical thinking, imagination, logic, reason, the ability to memory, understanding, right here, prefrontal cortex. And this part of the brain is where you get compassion, empathy, love for God, love for people. It comes from this part of the brain. This part of the brain is where you get, and brain surgeons will tell you that this part of the brain and this part of the brain are obviously necessary, but they're called the not so good parts of the brain, but necessary. You need them. From here you get isolation, narcissism. You get this survival of the fittest. You get this big ego. It comes from this part of the brain. From this part of the brain, fear, anger, sadness, depression. So the brain surgeons, they've actually done studies. What they've done, they brought people in, they connect their brains to a monitor where they are able to read through having them plug into a monitor with wires and plugs. They're able to see if prayer actually changes the brain. So the brain surgeons say, here it is. Here's what's interesting. 15 minutes of prayer. Once you get to the 15-minute mark, nothing happens before. Nothing happens to the brain. No activity, no change. Right around the 15-minute mark, brain surgeons say that what happens in this part of the brain, in this part of the brain, they're saying it's like a light bulb turns on. A light switch turns on after 15 minutes of prayer, and what happens here and here is the chemicals in the brain are triggered, and the chemicals known as serotonin and dopamine, which fights depression and which makes you feel good. It gives you zest. It gives you an adrenaline rush. That's activated after 15 minutes of prayer. And the brain surgeons say that 15 minutes of prayer, it also turns off like a light switch. Turns off this part of the brain and this part of the brain. Turns it right off. And it lights up the good parts of the brain. Now here's what's interesting. 15 minutes of prayer does this to the brain. That's why you'll find people, and I'll be honest with you, see, this is why a lot of men are angry in society. Because what I do I pray the rosary. How long does it take? 15, 20 minutes, and add the litanies of Romero, 20, 25 minutes. I write my Bible, when I'm working out, I'll pray my rosary, or take walks in the evening. Even in the shower, I get my rosary in. So what I'm doing every day, I'm downloading serotonin and dopamine all over my body. And so people ask me, Jess, how are you doing today? If you listen to me on radio, I've been on radio for years. I tell people I'm too blessed to be stressed, I'm too anointed to be disappointed, and if hope was money, I'd be a millionaire. Heck, if I was any happier, I'd be twins. Why? Every day, Jess Romero downloads serotonin and dopamine all over my body because I pray the daily rosary. So there's a spiritual effect. I'm cultivating my relationship with God through Mary. 2, I'm injuring demons. 3, I'm also pacifying disordered appetites and emotions. And 4, I'm actually doing something physically good to my body. These are all facts. I'll end with this story. We'll end with this. Because I know that there's a lot of you probably don't spend time. You have a beautiful adoration chapel here. Wow. Let me tell you how powerful the adoration chapel is, and I'll end with this. I got this story in my book, Saint Faustina. She actually wrote up about this. I got the actual paragraph in my book, and I'll just share it with you. Saint Faustina, she would pray in front of him. She would go and visit Jesus Christ at the chapel, the adoration chapel, and spend time with him in prayer. She spent an hour a day. And here's what she writes. She wrote this to another nun in paragraph 320. She said this, okay? After the adoration, Saint Faustina writes, paragraph 320, halfway back to my cell, remember that's what the nuns back then called they called the rooms, they called them cells because they were so small. They didn't call them rooms, they called them cells back in 1931. Halfway back to my cell, I, St. Faustina, was surrounded by a pack of huge black dogs who were jumping and howling and trying to tear me to pieces. I realized that they were not dogs, but demons. One of them spoke up in a rage. Faustina, because you have snatched so many souls away from us this night, we will tear you to pieces. I answered, if that's the will of the most merciful God, tear me to pieces, for I have justly deserved it, because I am the most miserable of all sinners, and God is ever holy, just, and merciful. To these words, all the demons answered me, let us flee Faustina, for she's not alone. The Almighty is with her. And the demons vanished like dust, like the noise of the road. While I continued on my way to my cell undisturbed, finishing my Thanksgiving prayers and pondering the infinite and unfathomable mercy of God. St. Faustina, paragraph 320. Notice what she says. She says that when she goes and prays in the Adoration Chapel, demons told her, and by the way, demons can take the form of animals. This is Catholic teaching. It comes from St. Thomas of Aquinas. Demons can take pre-existent matter and they can rearrange it. Demons can take the form of humans. They can take the form of very handsome guys or prostitutes, very beautiful women. They can take the form of animals. This is very common. St. Padre Pio, demons would attack him. They would take the form of black dogs, just like St. Faustina. She knew intuitively these black dogs that were coming at her, she knew they were demons. But notice what she says. These demons told her, because you have snatched so many souls away from us this night, we will tear you to pieces. What was she doing? She was praying in the Adoration Chapel. And as she's praying there, she doesn't know, she's just praying being faithful to God. Literally, people that are going to hell, literally, are having the grace of conversion, and her prayers are snatching demons from going to hell. And the demons tell her, your prayers are snatching demons from our grasp. Your prayers are very powerful. You just don't know And I'll tell you why God doesn't let you see the effects of your prayers. I'll tell you why. Because if God allowed us to see the effects of our prayers, we'd be walking around all big head. We wouldn't. Our head would be this big. Yeah. God is not going to let you see the effects of your prayers until the next life. God willing in heaven. Then you're gonna say, people are gonna come up to you and say, remember when you were praying at the Adoration Chapel? Remember when you were praying at Home of Divine Mercy? Yeah, I was a drug addict. And I was about to spike myself with heroin for the 300th time. And your prayers, you were over there in Oregon, in Hermiston, Oregon. And I was over there in East Los Angeles, California. I was about to spike myself. And your prayers, God used your prayers. He gave me the grace to drop that needle, fall on my knees, and ask Jesus to come into my life because of your prayers. And you're going to say, well, I never mentioned. You don't have to know them in this lifetime. God will use your prayers in a very powerful way to bless other people in the body of Christ. That's what the Bible says in Colossians chapter 1, verses 24. It's in the Bible. God will take your prayers by faith and use them for somebody else in the body of Christ that needs healing, blessing, or deliverance. I'll just tell you, and I'll end with this. So you're going to say, well, Jess, you're quoting a lot of old stories. What about something common? Well, I'll tell you something here. I can tell you one. I'll just give you one. There's a gentleman that's possessed out there. I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and there's a guy who's seen the exorcist, the diocesan exorcist in Phoenix, Arizona. I know him. He's possessed. He was involved in the Church of Satan for 8 years, and I won't tell you the things that he did, but he's fully possessed, and he's being treated right now for possession. He's a friend of mine. And so he's asked me, he goes to the same parish I do. He can't go in the church, he has to stand in the back. He can't enter a Catholic church yet because the manifestations get too strong, so he stands in the back. He'll run out of the church, vomit, come back in, stand in the back, runs out, he has vertigo. But he's trying to make his way in the church one day. But he told me, one day, Jess, can you pray for me? He says, the exorcist told me to get as many people as I can to pray for me. I said, sure. I said, I got his number and everything. I said, sure. So I started saying, I'm going to pray for him. I'm going to start praying for him at 3 o'clock, my divine mercy. So, like the next day after he asked me, at 3 o'clock, I took out my rosary, and I just sat down and said, okay, I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray the chaplet of the divine mercy, and I'm going to pray for, you don't know, Abel. I'm going to pray for him. I'm going to pray that God heals him, sets him free from the diabolical. So as I said the prayer, finished in about 6 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes, he calls me up at about 3:15. Phone rings. Hey, Abel, what's going on? He goes, and it sounded like he just ran a marathon. He's hyperventilating. And he's like, did he just come from the gym or what? He's hurting. He goes, Jesse, yeah, what is it? Calm down, what is it? He goes, did you just pray for me? I said, yeah, 15 minutes ago I prayed for you at 3 o'clock. I said, I told you I was going to start praying for you. He goes, no wonder. He goes, the evil spirit inside me said, why did you tell him to pray for us? Jesse's not our friend. He's trying to break us up. You're going to get it. You told him to pray for us. You're going to get it. He told me this thing in his body, because demons attach themselves in your body, possession, took him, threw him on the ground, and twisted him for 15 minutes into a pretzel and tortured him and said, tell him to stop praying. Tell him to stop. Call him up. It hurts. Tell him to stop. This has happened a couple of weeks ago. I can share with you a lot more stories like this, but my time is up. Let's pray in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Let's do an Our Father, the prayer that Jesus taught us. By the way, the Our Father, just for your info, I'm going to teach you something. So you're going to be praying the Our Father with a lot more fervor. The Our Father is a minor exorcism prayer. How do we know? Pope Benedict XVI, he wrote an article when he was a pope on the Our Father. He told us it's an exorcism prayer. Why? Look at the way it ends. Deliver us from evil. That's not the exact translation according to Pope Benedict and the Catechism of the Catholic Church. If you look at the Catechism, Vatican II says the proper interpretation from the Greek, from the best Greek manuscripts that we have, it says, deliver us from the evil one. That's the proper interpretation of the Our Father. Who is the evil one? The Catechism says it's Satan. It's the devil. So Father Gabriel Amorth, the Vatican exorcist, says the Our Father is a minor exorcism prayer. Jesus taught us that prayer. So when we pray, let's pray with faith. Okay? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. O Mary, conceived without sin, pray for us. Our Lady, Seat of Wisdom,
Pray for
Our
us.
Lady of Fatima,
Pray for
Our
us.
Lady of Sorrows,
Pray for us.
Our Lady of La Salette,
Pray for
Our
us.
Lady of Guadalupe,
Pray for
Our
us.
Lady of the King of Japan,
Pray
Our
for
Lady
us.
of Lourdes,
Pray for
Our
us.
Lady of Czestochowa,
Pray for us.
Virgin most powerful,
Pray for us.
Virgin most pure,
Pray for us.
Virgin inviolate,
Pray for us.
Virgin most prudent,
Pray for us.
Saint Joseph, terror of demons,
Pray for us.
all you holy angels and saints of God,
Pray for
Our
us.
Lady of angels,
Pray for us.
in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Before you run off, I wanted to say this. Some of you are going to say, wow, I actually enjoyed this guy. He gave a pretty decent presentation. If you want to listen to me, I'm on internet radio every day, Monday through Friday. I do 2 shows a day. One of the shows I do every morning, I talk about spiritual warfare. I'm the only Catholic in the United States that has a show on spiritual warfare every day. I talk about the diabolical, deliverance, healing, possession, oppression, obsession, infestation, how to avoid these things, how to live in a state of grace. I talk about that every day. If you go to your phone, you can download my application. It's called Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Go to your store, look up Virgin Most Powerful Radio. You can download the app on your phone. You can download the app on your computer. Or you can get online. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube. You can type in Virgin Most Powerful Radio. I do 2 shows every day. I talk just like this. Just like this. I get people calling me up all over the country that are demonized, that have been playing with the Ouija board, been praying with the occult. I pray for them on air. Right there on air. I have some very serious people that are in very serious struggle that call me up and it's live on radio. And I pray for them and I teach them how to be set free from the diabolical using Catholic principles. So if you like this presentation, I talk like this every day. I'm very deep in the Bible because I got a degree in biblical theology, and I'm very deep in the Catechism. I've read the whole Catechism from cover to cover, all the documents of Vatican II. I know them well in my sleep. And so my presentations are thoroughly Catholic. If you like what I said, everything I said is in this book. It's called Lord, Prepare My Hands for Battle. I wrote it back there. It's back on the table. I also bought a lot of recordings for somebody to say, wow, I'd like to hear more of this guy. Does he have stuff pre-recorded? I have a lot of talks out there that are recorded on an MP3. What I did, I probably given 1,000 different talks. So what I did, I took my best talks and I categorized them into 6 different subjects. All my talks on marriage, I put in one MP3. I got 26 hours on the sacrament of marriage, 26 Bible studies on marriage, different aspects of marriage I talk about. I got another MP3, I got 15 hours on spiritual warfare, how the devil uses music, how the devil uses the internet, how the devil uses television, how the devil uses politics, every aspect of the diabolical from a Catholic perspective. I have it. I have another one for 25 hours. I answer every question you've ever been asked by a Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, or a Protestant brother. Every question they ask about Mary, purgatory, the saints, etc. I have a 25-session Bible study on Catholic apologetics answering all those questions. And I also have other books that I've written back there. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you for coming. We'll see you tomorrow night. Keep the faith.